Bobo C-Type Beers here, back after a sort of extended hiatus from uploading videos. It's not that I wasn't playing around online, it's just that between weird uploading schedules and all sorts of other nonsense, a lot of my videos never made it to YouTube. I was dirtling around with a deck I really didn't enjoy that much, and then decided to switch around, and now I am fully on, for at least a while, back on Martyr Proc. I realized that, like, yeah, I can definitely explore new decks, but I think this is going to be the deck that, for all intents and purposes, we're going to play for a bit, especially with the new domination of Hogic. Now, a friend of mine has been putting up some really good finishes. He day 2 to GP Dallas and did pretty well at some IQs with some interesting tech in a black-white version that I'm going to kind of bring to a mono-white version. It's also the addition of some Modern Horizon cards actually make us a little bit decent to fight Hogaak. It's not an incredible matchup, but I do think we are poised to do some interesting stuff against the deck while it dominates until it gets banned in a couple weeks. I do agree with everyone else that it's going to be banned. I do think the ban is going to be Altar of Dementia if they don't double ban Altar and Bridge from Below. I don't think they're going to ban Hogaak. I think Hogaak is now just a reality, and it's going to kind of just create a really strong dredge deck, which the format already have. I don't think they ban looting out of the deck. I think they keep looting around, and I think Phoenix is at the exact power level they want it to be. So since those two decks are dominating, I'll kind of show you some of the tech that this deck can run. First, we cut a lot of the generic Wraths for 2 Winds of Abandon and 1 Settle the Wreckage. Now, Winds of Abandon is a new card. It is 2 mana to path. You can only path creatures you don't control, so it is, and it does it at sorcery speed. So very, very weak there. The Overload, however, allows you to exile an entire opponent's board. It basically becomes a one-sided, becomes a Settle the Wreckage for all intents and purposes, except it can target any creatures. It doesn't have to be attacking creatures because, again, sorcery speed. So between that and bringing in 1 of Settle the Wreckage, all of our Wraths, with the exception of Cleansing Nova, which is just in there because artifact decks are real, all of our Wraths with the exception of Cleansing Nova exile, which make the graveyard decks a lot weaker. Often when you try to Wrath or you try to do stuff like that, you end up just putting stuff back in their graveyard so they can bring it back. We also have another piece of tech we have is a main deck Wheel of Sun and Moon. Now, if you're not familiar with this card, it enchants a player, and basically anything that would go to that player's graveyard from anywhere is put on the bottom of that player's library. So that becomes a way to fight a lot of the graveyard decks that are trying to do busted things, and allows us to fight them on turn 2. From there, the other way we fight Hogic is having 4 Martyr, 1 Kami, 4 Ranger-Captain. This is just what the deck wants to do anyways, but by having 9 creatures that can sack themselves on demand, 5 of those creatures being able to do it for free, Martyr, you do have to hold up a mana, obviously. Having all those creatures creates a situation where you can get the Bridge from Below out of their graveyard by sacking one of your creatures and timing it well. The other interesting thing you'll see in this deck, the friend I mentioned before in the black-white version is running 3 Anguish Unmaking, so our best opportunity for that is Generous Gift, the new Modern Horizons Beast Within in white. This replaces the Ghostly Prisons. Those go off to the side simply to fight Planeswalkers. I think fighting Planeswalkers is better than fighting go-wide decks in the main, and we can, if we run up against humans, we can bring the Ghostly Prison in. When we run up against non-Planeswalker decks, we can bring the Ghostly Prison in. But I think with Karn, with different Teferis, with Narset, I do think there we need generic catch-all removal in the main. The other thing that makes this list kind of cool is the Weathered Wayfarer, and that is strictly a hedge against Tron as well. It allows us to get land destruction lands against Tron, as well as allows us to get generic value lands against slower decks. So that comes into the main. And then we also have the Walking Ballista over here that you can't see. Walking Ballista being another main deck way to fight Planeswalkers in the sideboard. Pretty standard sideboard here. 3 Rips, 3 Prisons, 3 Gideons, 3 Damping Spheres. And then value slots are your Elspeth, your Hex Parasite, and your Stony Silence. Stony Silence, decent at fighting the Hogeik deck, so it stays around. Elspeth, if it resolves, all the late game decks kind of crumple beneath us, and then Hex Parasite kills walkers, which is so pivotal in the format right now. So we're going to tinker around with the list a bit. I'm also going to be a lot better about uploading things as I finish them. But this is the list we'll take into a Modern League starting right now, and we will see you in the first video.